Subscribe to this channel and like it, thank you. The train rattled through the late evening silence as passengers clutched bags, phones, and tired expressions. Among them sat Ian, a single father returning home after a long shift, his daughter asleep on his shoulder. He noticed a girl, maybe in her early 20s, boarding in a hurry, her eyes full of unease. She sat alone, hands trembling slightly, glancing behind her as if someone had been following her. Ian felt something wasn't right, but at first he stayed quiet, hoping it was just ordinary worry and not danger. A few minutes later, two men stepped into the same coach, laughing loudly, the kind of laughter that made people look down rather than look up. Their eyes locked onto the girl instantly. One nudged the other and smirked, then walked closer, pretending to adjust his jacket. The girl shifted in her seat, pulling her bag tight against her chest. Ian watched carefully, noticing how she tried to shrink into the corner. His instincts as a father, as a man who had seen danger before, stirred fast. The taller man approached her seat slowly, pretending to check the route map above her. But his gaze stayed fixed on her face, lingering too long. "Traveling alone?" he asked, voice crawling with unwanted familiarity. She didn't respond. She simply turned toward the window, hoping silence would be enough. It wasn't. The second man moved closer too, blocking her path. Passengers looked away, everyone saw, but no one wanted to get involved. Ian felt his heartbeat thump harder. He gently laid his sleeping daughter across two seats, stood up, and moved toward the girl as calmly as possible. "There you are," he said loudly, acting as though he knew her. "I've been looking for you. Come sit with us." The girl's eyes widened, first in confusion, then in relief as she realized what he was trying to do. She nodded quickly and stood. Before she could walk away, one of the men stepped in front of her and said, "She didn't say she knows you." Ian didn't back down. "She doesn't have to. I said she does." His voice was steady, protective. The carriage grew silent. The men glared at him, surprised anyone dared intervene. "This doesn't concern you," one spat. Ian stepped closer, placing himself fully between them and the girl. "It does now," he replied. His hands were steady, though adrenaline rushed through him. He kept his eyes locked on them, refusing to show fear. The girl clutched his sleeve from behind, trembling. Ian whispered, "Stay behind me." The men exchanged looks, clearly annoyed that someone had broken their intimidation. One stepped even closer, face inches from Ian's. "You think you can stop us?" he hissed. Ian didn't flinch. "I don't think," he said. "I know." His voice echoed through the silent coach, and even the men hesitated for a moment, unsure of his confidence. Just then the train jolted slightly as it passed a curve, but no one moved or breathed. The men tried once more to intimidate him, puffing their chests, making threats under their breath. But Ian didn't give them space to advance. His posture stayed firm, his gaze unbroken. "Walk away," he said softly, yet with fierce warning. "If you touch her, you answer to me." The girl behind him tightened her hold, knowing this stranger had become her shield. Finally, the conductor walked through the door, noticing the tension. Ian subtly nodded toward the men, and the conductor immediately understood. "You too," he said sharply. "Step aside. I've had complaints already." The men cursed under their breath but began backing away slowly. The conductor threatened to call security at the next station. Realizing they had lost the upper hand, the men retreated to another compartment, grumbling as they left. When the door closed behind them, the girl exhaled shakily, almost collapsing into the nearest seat. Ian guided her gently to sit beside his daughter. "Are you okay?" he asked. She nodded but tears pooled in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. No one even looked up. Ian offered a small, tired smile. "Sometimes people are scared. But you're safe now. They're not coming back." The girl introduced herself as Zara, a university student who had been returning from an evening class. She explained how the men had followed her from the bus stop all the way to the train. She had hoped to blend into the crowd, but the carriage had been emptier than usual. Ian listened quietly, anger simmering inside him at how easily fear had overtaken her journey. But he reminded himself that she was no longer alone. His daughter stirred awake, rubbing her eyes sleepily. When she saw Zara sitting beside them, she smiled softly. "Are you scared?" the little girl asked gently. Zara nodded, and the child held her hand with surprising maturity. "It's okay. My papa helps everyone, she whispered. Ayan looked away, humbled by his daughter's simple trust. Zara held onto the child's hand as though it grounded her back into safety. As the train approached the next station, Ayan offered to walk Zara home or call someone she trusted. She hesitated, embarrassed. I don't want to trouble you, she said. You've already done so much. Ayan shook his head. You're not troubling anyone. You needed help. Anyone could see that. His tone wasn't heroic, just honest and sincere, the voice of someone who knew the world wasn't always kind. When they stepped off the train together, the cold air brushed against them, but Zara felt a warmth she hadn't felt since she first got scared. Ayan kept his daughter on one side and walked beside Zara on the other, staying alert. Every shadow, every alley, every noise, he watched it. Zara realized he wasn't just being protective. He was being responsible, the way someone becomes when they've lived enough life to know danger. They reached her building safely. Zara turned to him with tears in her eyes. If you hadn't been there, she whispered. Don't finish that sentence, Ayan said gently. You're safe. That's what matters. She thanked him again, more sincerely and deeply than before. His daughter waved at her happily. Good night, Zara auntie, she chirped. For the first time that evening, Zara laughed, a real laugh. As Ayan walked away with his daughter, he felt no pride, no need for recognition, only relief. He had acted without thinking twice because danger didn't wait for hesitation. And somewhere behind him, Zara watched the man who had stepped into her nightmare and turned it into safety. She whispered into the night, there are still good people in this world. And Ayan, unaware of her words, simply tightened his daughter's hand in his, ready to go home. Please tell me how you liked the story in the comments. Thank you.